Thanks. Hi, I'm Shelva here, Shelva Jaganathan. So, along with my co-workers not here, but so today we're going to cover about the journey to the VCDX. So, how we accomplish the preparation, so how to do all the tips and nitty-gritty details on this. Yeah. Uh, so, can you hear me? Yeah. You guys can hear? Okay. Yeah, so fair disclaimer, so whatever we are presenting here so solely is based on, it's not an official statement, it's based on our, the preparation what we did, okay, so it's a fair disclosure on this, yeah. And you can refer to the program vcdx.vma.com, so that's the main website, you can look into it. So here are the total agenda. So what is the certification path, the time management, and so the whole end-to-end. We're going to cover this. We have a 50 minutes time, so let's go ahead and jump in. Yeah. So what is VCDX? So mainly, it's one of the highest level of certification which everyone want to achieve. So no matter what, like what kind of product technologies you use, that's the main greater achievement you can achieve here in the VMware education. Yep. And so it's mainly the main purpose is like to demonstrate your architectural skills, the design skills, so how you're doing it day-to-day life. So that's the main thing you have been using it in your real customer experience or at work, how you're designing your whole skill set based on the technologies. So mainly here we are going to cover the cloud management automation, but I'm going to cover the other topics like DCV, desktop, and the network UAE. So main certification path is like you start with VCP, and then you go ahead with the VCAP, that is for the design, and then the deployment. So once you pass those two exams, then you get the VMware certified implementer. So that's the expert you get it. So once you're done, then you are eligible to take the VCDX exam. Yeah. So the main key thing is time management. So I usually follow the SMART. That's a specific, measurable, realistic, achievable, realistic, and timely. So mainly it's specific in the sense like you get to the specific what you're going to achieve here. So format your goal. Like these are my timeline I'm going to achieve, and keep it simple and make sure you achieve the timeline. Those a specific goal you have to set it up. So what do you want to achieve here? Measurable. So each and every week, like okay, this is the timeline I'm going to achieve. So every week measure your what are the tasks you completed towards it, right? So that's a key idea. Like so, in my part, like I partnered with one of my coworkers, is Mukesh. So we are checking on each other. Like okay, this week we are going to complete the design document or complete the deployment guide or installation guide or so many things like we divide and conquer. So we just keep on like do like a stand up like every weekly Thursday. Hey, did we achieve this week? That's one way to measure it. And achievable, right? So try to see like whatever you can achievable, right? So you don't want to overdo it everything. The main thing I would recommend, like when you decide to do the VCDX, I would start when you start doing the VCP exam, right? So don't need to wait till at the end. Oh, I only do it when we're done with the VCAP exam, all those things done. So start with the VCP. When you start preparing for VCP, start preparing your design guide and everything. So there is no hard written rule. You have to do it at the end or anything, right? So just start preparing your design and all those things. And be realistic in the sense like, so we have all families and friends, right? So you can't work day and night on preparing it. So you have a work-life balance, see what you can achieve. Say like give a 6 months timeline or a 1 year timeline and divide and conquer like, okay, every week I'm going to achieve these things. And we all have jobs to do like 9 to 5. So I want to make sure like you can achieve these goals properly in a timely manner. So that's a timely specific, like, so mainly like you decide the time frame when you want to appear for the exam. So prepare, I would say minimum like 6 months at least you should have it. Or if you can do it like at 1 or 2 years, that's fine. So, but make sure you do it in the proper way, not in the rush or rush your design and just for namesake. You want to make sure you know your design like end to end, right? Uh, so time management pre-submission, right? So this is the first email you'll get once you submit the document. Mainly you have a various document. One is like design document. So your design document is consist of like maybe 100 pages to 200 pages, no matter what. And your installation guide, that's where you put all your installation steps. So these are all scoring, right? So how many points you score. This is very important for pre-selection to your design. So concentrate on your documentation properly. So these are going to give you a high score in your design document and installation guide. Have how many steps you capture, no matter what the DCV or a CMA. So what are the deployment you did, all those things, right? And standard operating procedure is nothing but similar to the installation guide, but have a standard operating procedure. I have seen people do mistakes like clubbing together install and operating guide. They need separate document. So you have to call out a guide, say operating guide, so how you're going to operate your the environment or how you whatever you delivered for the design. Testing and validation is nothing but so when you deploy or install or anything, you test it and see, you validate and see these are validated properly and this is working fine in your environment and show a test results and showcase that. Yeah. And implementation plan, so you should have an implementation plan. This is a very key thing, very important. Sometimes people they miss this implementation plan. That gives you another scoring points for your VCDX scoring, right? So implementation like starting from the end, like 1 year designing, you're designing your section as a kickoff. You have design sessions with your customer or your internal organization or your fictional design. Just put a fictional, or if it is fictional design, put a implementation plan. What you're trying to do, like end to end, right? So you're designing, implementing it, and validating, testing it. So those whole timeline, right? So the roadmap and everything is very important. And application submission is the end. That's where you submit the day of the application. They have a final deadline every quarterly. We have that particular submission date. Just submit your application with all these documents. So pretty much you give a confirmation email that you have submitted. But you can take a beer and say, hey, I submitted, it's done, so I'm all set. But don't stop there, right there, okay? So start preparing your post-submission, right? Mainly work on your defense deck. So defense deck is a key thing, like giving a high-level deck we are going to present it. We are not going to cover all the design document already presented, right? Give a high-level design, and if needed, have a backup slide that goes into the 200, 300 level, but start with a 100-level design deck, right? And do a pressure testing in the sense have your coworkers or we have a VCDX study group, so you can ask some mentees or we have like mentors to join your session. So present your design deck with like a mock-up session. Do that. So that's very important, right? So your coworker, you can ask your coworker to join as well. Ask them a question. This is my deck. This is what I'm going to present. And another thing is like assembly study group, right? So we have a VCDX study group in Slack. You can join that group. I'm going to put it in the last slide deck or the reference to it. So ask people, right? So it's don't be shy. Just ask people, hey, this is what I have, so how to achieve it. There's nothing wrong in it. Yeah. And so like I said, a teamwork. So here I did with my partner, Mukesh. So you can do it solo. You can do it partnered with 2 or you're partnered with 3. Maximum 3 you can go with. There are pros and cons. If you have a partner, so you have divide and conquer. Like you can have one guy to do the design document, share it, and have an install guide, take a screenshot for the different components. So you can divide and conquer. You can finish it fast. Or some people they comfortable in the, doing it solo. That's fine. And another thing is a pre-submission. Review the content before you submit for the grammatic mistakes or the sentence. Make sure sometimes you copy and paste. You might be pasting a different design in across. So just read through line by line because those things are going to affect your scoring, right? So those are things they evaluate your design papers. And then a post submission. So make sure, like I said, like have a mock-up session going on. And also make a design scenario. That's the last part. The first part of your VCDX exam is like design defense. So you present your deck and in front of the 3 VCDXs. And once you're done, so that's for 75 minutes. And second is like a design scenario. That's like 45 minutes. So 45 minutes, the 3 panelists going to be as a customer. So they're going to mock up as a customer and role play. So they will be distracting. They will be taking the phone, not listening to you, but don't get offended. So that's the way the whole exam is. So just present your design. So do a lot of mock-ups of your design scenario, like doing the whiteboarding sections. Due to the remote, so I'm going to cover in the particular section for the design scenario. We'll cover that. So soft skills. So mainly. We have a body language. These are the various soft skills. So how to do public speaking. Make sure take a deep breath. Don't worry. Don't tense or anything. If you don't know the question, ask them repeatedly. So ask them like, what is it? There's nothing wrong in asking them, the panelists. And whiteboarding. So make sure I use the Mira board. You can use any kind of like iPad or anything for the whiteboard sessions. Or mainly like we have Microsoft Whiteboard or Zoom, anything you can use it to do the whiteboarding. I'm just going to jump into the next one. Uh, VCDX blueprint considerations, right? So here, mainly we cover these are the main components like data center, virtual machine, compute, network, storage. No matter what path you are, try to cover all those components. And mainly AMPRS. That's the design decisions like availability, manageability, performance, recoverability, and security. These are the whole 5 components you have to cover it. So that's the key thing. Whenever you make any design decisions, please call out whether you are doing it availability or if you make any design decisions that covers manageability. So call out those AMPRS, right? And so So the other thing is like in your design document, no matter what is the design doc or the design scenario, you have to going to cover all these 3 things, right? Conceptual, logical, and physical. Conceptual is nothing but the high level design, like a view of how it's going to be, your house going to be like. So it looks like, oh, I want a car garage. Oh, I want the fancy pool in the backyard. Okay, that's fine. So that's a conceptual. Logical, you do the very integrated like logical designs where what are things it looks like. But in the physical, you're going deep into the grids, like how you're going to deploy it in the physical design. So the same methodology, so you see the conceptual design. The conceptual is nothing but you're getting all the business requirements, technical requirements, and also you're going to cover constraints, risks, assumptions, and all those things are covered in the conceptual. And the logical design, you're going to give all the design decisions. That you're going to tie in with all your requirements and cover what are the requirements, what are the constraints, those things you're going to tie it back. And same for the logical physical, you're doing the same thing, justification. Yep. And this is the design scenario, how it looks like. Right? In the design scenario, you can't cover in 45 minutes the whole thing, right? So first you cover the conceptual design where you get all the requirements, business requirements, get all the constraint, risks, and assumptions. Once you captured, you jump in straight, after 50 minutes, jump in straight to the design decisions. Parallel, you can make a design decisions in parallel when you're doing the logical design. Call out that, okay, this is the requirement tied into this design decisions, I'm making it, right? That's all. So I have the last slides. You can see. So these are the results that we have, and you can email us or you can email me. So if you have any questions, that's pretty much, guys. So if you have any Q&A, let's talk outside. Feel free to ask me any questions. Yep. Thank you.